Good morning. It is 10 o'clock. It is the 20th day of February. I am your grumpy guide to all things gaming, the OGGM, with some OGGM adventure slash math, because the first quarter numbers have been released for 2021 regarding sales, downloads, and number of hours being used via the electronic magic that is the interweb that I and my simple caveman mind do not understand. But apparently there's this thing called Roll20 and Discord and Zoom and gaming and D&D Beyond. Anyways, somebody far smarter than me, or at least with way more free time, and has done the first quarter numbers for. So this is first quarter numbers for sales of RPG product and hours being used via the magic of the interweb. Now, not surprisingly, number one sales is D&D 5th edition. And the number one thing being used on the Roll20, Zoom, Discord, Magic, the Psychic Network, D&D 5th edition. It is currently holding its sales at 52.90%. And currently the number of accounts on the Roll20 thingy for D&D 5th edition is 58.44%. I don't know what a 0.44% is. Now, here is the numbers that I find much more exciting and much more interesting. In sales for the first quarter of 2021, we have at number 2, Call of Cthulhu at 24.96%. So 24.96% of all sales right now, Call of Cthulhu. On the D&D Beyond, whatever you would call it, we have number 2 in sales. 20% of all D&D Beyond Roll20 games currently, Call of Cthulhu. And the system with the biggest growth in the first quarter of 2021, Cyberpunk Red at 75.13%. On the other half, system with the smallest growth in the first quarter, D&D 5e at only 4.82%. So that means the game, since 2021 started, the game that has seen the most growth, Cyberpunk Red, and the game that has seen the least amount of growth, D&D 5e. Interesting. Number 3 most sales for 2021 first quarter, Pathfinder, both first and second edition, at a combination of 4%. Games seeing the third most use on Roll20, Pathfinder, both first and second edition, at 4%. The next game selling the most, surprisingly enough, is Warhammer. Warhammer currently holds 2% of all sales in 2021. World of Darkness holding at 2%. D&D 3.5 at 1%. Star Wars, any edition at Star Wars, at 0.72% of all sales. Starfinder at 0.66%. And very surprisingly, very inspiring, uncategorized / other games, 24% of all sales currently is other games, uncategorized. So I don't know what that means, but that means that basically if you combine uncategorized and other games, they're selling more than Call of Cthulhu. Call of Cthulhu is currently selling at 24%. Uncategorized and other games also selling about 24%. So basically, they're about tied. Maybe Call of Cthulhu is a little higher now that I look at the numbers. Still, it's very, very exciting to see that the percentage of money going into game stores, not surprisingly, of course, D&D 5e, but we're more interested in the numbers underneath 5e. Who's challenging 5e? Call of Cthulhu at a strong second, and uncategorized / unknown games, other games, also holding at a strong second place. an amount of time and energy on the D&D Beyond Roll20 thing. D&D, of course, 5e being the number one thing that Roll20 is being used for. Call of Cthulhu being the number 2 thing that Roll20 is being used for. Pathfinder being the number 3 thing that Roll20 is being used for. And exciting again, uncategorized at 20%. So that means, I don't know, powered by the apocalypse, Tales from the Loop, just not, villains and vigilantes, currently at 20%. Warhammer is 1% of all Roll20. World of Darkness, 1%. D&D 3.5, 1%. Star Wars, 0.70%. Starfinder, 0.66%. And then other games / uncategorized at 20% for count percentage dedicated to those games on Roll20. And systems with the biggest growth in the first quarter, Cyberpunk Red at 75%. Chroniques Oblis, I don't even know what that is. Must be something French. It's 43% biggest growth in the first quarter. Year Zero Engine, yes, 39%. This must be Europe. Das Schwarz Argy, anyone know what that is? 34% growth in first quarter. Cyberpunk seeing a 30% growth. Star Wars seeing an 18% growth. Warhammer seeing a 13% growth. Shadowrun seeing a 12% growth. World of Darkness, Warhammer 13, World of Darkness 6%, sorry. D&D 3.5, 5% growth first quarter. And D&D 5e, 4% growth in the first quarter of 2021. So while most sales might be D&D, in regards to Roll20, Call of Cthulhu, a strong contender for second edition, but more importantly, D&D first quarter is seeing the least amount of growth. So even though it's still technically selling the most, it's actually selling the exact same amount as it was selling fourth quarter at the end of last year. Cyberpunk Red currently seeing the most growth in 2021. I'm sure that will peter off once the Cyberpunk newness fades out. Speaking of Cyberpunk, that'll be the game of the week that I'm talking about in my next vlog, so stay tuned for that. And I'm going to be on a live stream tomorrow, so we'll have more information on that shortly. There you go, some math. I'm sure most of you lost interest after I said my name there, but for those of you who are interested in following what's going on in the gaming culture, and especially what's going on with games that aren't D&D, now's a good time to invest in Call of Cthulhu if you haven't yet. Yeah. Talk to you later.